I have some upsetting news. It's May. I mean, if in terms of your New Year's resolutions, you may be a little bit off track, right? Some of us are like me and don't even set resolutions, but because of failure in the past. But maybe there's a new way to offset this. And Professor or Assistant Professor Elliot Berkman of Psychology and the Director of Social and Affective Neuroscience Lab at the University of Oregon has several ways that people can actually achieve their goals that are backed by some amount of science.
That's good news, everybody.
Good news, everyone. No, everybody? Fuck. I want to improve my Professor Farnsworth impression. Yeah. I'm going to have to start by setting some goals. And the first of which is to have an end game. Ooh. So a lot of people are going to just, do okay, but if you have a definite goal in sight, it can help you do better. Berkman pointed out a specific study in which, non-smoking flights or commercial airline flights as a lab for examining self-control and cravings. So I guess you could apply this to perhaps a diet or other ways. Let me get into it. So basically, flight attendants who smoked were asked to record their cravings at regular intervals. The desire to smoke increased gradually over the duration of the flight, becoming the most intense 5 minutes before landing. However, here's the kicker. This would happen whether the flight was 45 minutes or 3 hours, meaning that you would set your own level of willpower and you're allocating how much you need. So if you set that in your head of where I need to be, you're going to automatically attune yourself to that.
It's like it's like when you when you have to go to the bathroom like really bad, and then when you know you're closer to a toilet, it gets worse because you know you can go sooner. So
what are you talking about?
I mean, is that just me?
Is that a man thing?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
all men are agreeing right now.
I don't know. It's like when I have to pee really, really bad, it's like, and if I know that I'm close to my apartment, it's like, it's like right there. And then it's like,
because the goal is in sight.
Exactly. So
just
it's
like this.
But it's like if you know it's far away, you're like, okay, just hold it, and like you can hold it. But as soon as you know it's closer, you're just like, fuck, and yeah. And it might be.
I'm so glad you brought that. Anecdotal evidence. I love it.
I don't know.
I mean, it applies. Another tip that comes from Assistant Professor Berkman is to use a buddy system, to have kind of a partner in crime, if you will. So, I mean, what he basically says is to announce your goals and that you would be more likely to achieve it. This goes opposite to what I would think, which is I like to keep things to myself until they actually happen. This may be more in terms of getting work or announcements or projects as opposed to maybe working out more. But basically what he says, and this is based on a study in transitional behavioral medicine called Weight Loss, Social Support in 140 Characters or Less. This was conducted out of the University of South Carolina, and it found that people in a weight loss program that benefited by using Twitter to talk about their progress, like daily. They were tweeting about their struggles and how they were doing better. And they lost to the tune of 0.5 pound for every 10 tweets was the final conclusion on that. You may disagree. I want to point out now, as opposed to the end, that a lot of this you can argue with these studies. You can definitely argue.
Yeah, I mean, I could see how that could work because by doing that you're publicly saying
you're accountable.
This is happening. I'm doing this, and like I know a person who's like always is like at the gym doing leg day, and then like
shirtless selfie time,
and then you see them, and then it's like you're lying. You're so fat. Like there's no way you're going to the gym as much as you're saying.
It takes a while for progress to show.
This is a year. This is like years. This is like constant, but like doing this all on the like I'm like. Okay, cool. You must look banging, and then then when you.
I mean, he didn't mention that he was eating a lot of Big Macs every day as well.
I mean, no, they don't mention that. But I mean, it's
you never know. I mean, it could work. It could also be confirmation bias, as I said earlier.
Exactly.
Another tip from Assistant Professor Berkman is to go for the low-hanging fruit. I like this one the least, which is don't set a lofty goal, like my goal is to become the greatest man of all time. Set something attainable. Your goal is to exercise more. Okay, my goal is to jog twice a week. How about that? So that's something more attainable and more easy. So it's like basically take baby steps. I think this is what it comes out to.
I'm with you. I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with it.
I shoot for the moon. And if you catch a star along the way, that's cool.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, and also there's no study cited for this one. The fourth one is turn do not into do. Or talk like Yoda.
No, you.
There is no try. So basically, you have a more positive attitude, I think is what it boils down to. So instead of saying stop eating bad food all the time, eat good food, you know?
Yeah.
That could be a more active and positive way to go. A lot of us don't like negative reinforcement.
No, and like it especially for like weight stuff, like that will never work. Like you need to have a positive attitude. Like I can do this. I will do this. Will is like a thing I like to incorporate into like my vocabulary on a daily because I'm a notorious slacker. So like if I don't do that, I'm like, no, you will do this. Then if I don't say that to myself, it won't get done.
Do you boss yourself around?
Kind of, yeah.
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 I think it works.
Yeah.
But be nice to yourself.
I know. I give myself breaks and lunches.
I pet myself on the head when I do a good job. The last tip he has is to convince yourself. So people who believe they have a lot of willpower do. And he points to a specific study in which it was called, this is very long, Implicit Theories About Willpower Predict Self-Regulation and Grades in Everyday Life. This was done by 4 researchers between the University of Zurich and Stanford University. Basically, they had followed 153 college students over 5 weeks and found that those who believed willpower was an unlimited resource were less prone to procrastinate or complete bad habits like eating junk food. And then their grades got better than those of their more negative counterparts, or less positive counterparts, because I'm using the tips. People who think that they can are the ones who actually can, says Berkman. I think it makes some sense. It does sound a little bit like pseudoscience to me.
I actually didn't know that was like a thing. I firmly believe in that. Like because like when I quit smoking, I used to be a smoker.
That's hard.
And I just.
You're a voice actor.
Yeah, I know.
You got to keep your.
That's why I get this voice.
This is your instrument.
Hey, everybody. No, but that's the thing. Like, I smoked for a long time, and then like I'm now when I stopped, I haven't had a cigarette or I didn't cheat since I've quit. Like I'm just, I got to a point where I'm like, I am going to do this, and I have the willpower that I can, and I did, and so like I feel like that's, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's covered, but I totally believe that like if you think you do, you will.
Yeah, I think a lot of these are practices that are probably good. I mean, like I said, I do have doubts about a lot of them. I do have the idea of confirmation bias. I do have the idea of pseudoscience in here, which happens frequently when we talk about sociological issues or psychological issues.
Right.
But, I mean, there's also the idea that trying to do something and failing, that's a scientific way of doing things. So I would say try to have a positive attitude, and if it doesn't work, at least you've learned something. You have to write it down, though. You can't just, that's how you make it science.
Yeah, you got to document everything.
So I tried to be positive, and it didn't work. Next idea.
Next stupid idea. I hate myself.
Next stupid idea for idiots. But, I mean, these do have some backing to them, and that could help you achieve your goals in the long run. I think I'm going to try a few of these out for sure. At least have an end game, and to have the idea that you have unlimited willpower and can convince yourself and then make yourself do things. Sure, I will do that in my life at least. Audience, have you tried any of these, and what is the best way to achieve your goals? What have you found? Perhaps you have study ideas that you could share with us. Let us know below in the comments, and please subscribe and like us on Facebook.